Good evening, everyone. At least for me, it's evening. Welcome to episode 30 of Balboa Park. Today is a little bit different episode because I'm recording while I'm walking my dog. We are going to the park, and I was thinking about things, and I wanted to record the episode in direct. If you don't know me, I am Nicoz Balboa, and I'm a trans man and a mom because I have a teen daughter and I am a tattooer and I do graphic novels published in Italy and in France. And I also am a graphic journaling enthusiast and I am a teacher of this practice on my Patreon page. I was thinking about something that I want to talk about. Was like So I was like, okay, I want to talk about this and I can't wait. And now that I'm walking, of course, I can't remember anymore because I realized that when I want to speak out, when I want to speak about something, I often have a very big amount of self-doubt, and self-doubt comes directly from self-judgment. Of course, the fear also of judgment, the fear of like thinking, why should I keep on posting this podcast and talk about my creative process? Who do I think I am? And so on. And while I'm talking, I realized this was the thing I wanted to talk about. Because I was thinking about the podcast and there is one voice in me that said, why bother to do this? You're not professional, like your recordings are like not very high quality, you don't have a studio, you don't have a jingle and all this stuff, all this judgment around my podcast. And so since I was walking, actually literally walking in the street wearing Birkenstock, almost in my pajamas, and wearing my Taylor Swift beanie, I was thinking, this is the less professional setting I may have to record my podcast, and maybe this is the moment I will be the more relaxed, because you can't go more unprofessional than this. I've spent my week doing like waking up, having coffee, walking my dog, and then going to work at home, and then at night walking my dog again. Maybe I would walk him 2 or 3 times a day, and I've spent the whole week without meeting any friends. I'm not saying without talking to anyone, because now with the technology, I actually talked a lot with my friend Nini and my friend P. I have all sort of exchange with them. We record all sort of vocal message on WhatsApp that are some sort of little personal podcast, and I love to listen to those messages when I walk. Albert, my dog, but also I like to talk in the microphone while I walk. So this is the reason maybe I felt comfortable doing this while I was walking my dog today. So I had human interaction, but no human distraction, I guess. I have talked a lot around my ADHD, but also the love I have for my creative nest. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's one of the episodes of the podcast. The fact that I like to know that I don't have things to do later in the day, but also like the days that follows in order to be sure that I'm able, I have the right to lose the track of time, and so I can relax, my brain can melt, and I can stay in the creative process of writing and creating. And of course, I don't have to do this when I tattoo, because when I tattoo, it's a sort of mechanical creativity, or I have a mirroring, I have a focus mirroring, I don't know how to say it. The person I'm tattooing, even though when I'm doing the drawing, I know the time that can get me to do a tattoo, even though I tattoo in freehand directly on skin. Maybe it can take me between like 10 minutes and 1 hour. It all depends by how hard is the idea and the realization, but I know how to go to get in the zone for the tattoo process. Maybe it's a different space, because it's like difficulty and creation around the drawing. There is no storytelling, or the storytelling is going into one image, and so I know how to concentrate myself and follow my inspiration, which, spoiler alert, the inspiration is the joy you feel while creating, even though the task is difficult, but you enjoy, you take the difficulty with joy. But in this case, for my book, for my next graphic novel, it's different. I've been in the process of doing this book for more than one year. I'm As soon as I finished drawing Transformer, which is the graphic novel that came out in 2023 in Italy for Oblomov, as soon as I finished, I knew some kind of in the back of my mind what I wanted to do next. And was almost 2 years ago that I finished to draw the book. And then for more than 1 year, this idea was like cooking in the back of my mind. I had this idea 1 year ago. I was in Lucca, the international festival of comics, the Comic Con. I don't know how to call it in Lucca. It's a very important festival, and I was there because my book Transformer had just won the title of Book of the Year, and so I was there, and it was pretty surreal. And I was on the way home in Tuscany at the airport, and I had this idea for the cover, and I had this image. I don't want to spoil it, but the thing is, I was like, and the funny things. In the meantime, I had this wish of finding a journal, a sketchbook, a notebook, something, because I wanted to start sketching down this idea. And I was at the airport, and I found a sketchbook, very cute, very amazing pages, and the cover art of the sketchbook as the image that in some way inspired my idea. I can't say anymore for now. I don't want to jinx my project. And so I had this sketchbook with this idea of book and cover and all since 1 year. And then last holiday season, last December, or maybe it was the beginning of January, I took away some time, as I was saying before, like I took away um, some time aside of human interaction and appointments and things like this. and I started to work on the book, but then life got in the way because I do graphic novels, but like for me at least, this doesn't pay all my bills. I'm very happy to be able to work with a very cool Italian publisher, a very cool French publisher, ICMM, and so this is present from life and it's cool. But actually, I'm not that. Those are not the work that pays my bills. My bills, it has been are paid by tattooing and doing illustration and selling my merch, and it's already a present because being able to pay your bills with your artistic career, it's already, for me, it's like the biggest achievement in my life. I never thought about this, and it's not easy every day. Maybe one day I can do a podcast around this. It could be fun to have some sort of, maybe if you have a question around this, you can ask me and maybe I can do a podcast around this. But for now, I had this idea. I started in January and then life got in the way and bills and stuff. And also, like, I live with my daughter 1 week every other week, something, even though I spend a lot of time with her, even when she's not at home. And then I have a partner that half of the time lives here and half of the time not. So, like, yeah, it's, I don't know, I'm still not sure, but like, sometimes I don't feel like, you are at home, don't talk to me because I need to close myself into the studio because I need to work on my next masterpiece. I don't know, it feels weird. Maybe it's the imposter syndrome, or maybe it's just that I want to enjoy the moment with my family. Like my daughter is 16, almost 16, and I always say this, soon enough she will have she will have her life, she will live her life, going to the university or I don't know, maybe not, but anyway, I want to live the present moment with people around me the more I can. And I always say this, sometimes it's frustrating anyway. I can feel the the pleasure of being with them, and in the meantime feeling this rush of like, I need to work on this project. Anyway, it's forward and it's October, and this week I work like a machine. The only person who was able to distract me was Albert, to the promenade, to the walking and all this. But then this week I was able to go through all the notes I took about the book, the themes and the element and the stories that I want to put in it. And I was able to catalog them and sketch them into very rough layout. Maybe the 80% or the 90% of the work of like sorting out the story is done some way. I do this kind of like very rough, very sticky figures layout, and this is the writing part that want me to being able to lose track of time, because I need to be in some sort of, I call it the vortex. Uh, and it's so fun because when I say to my daughter, last Tuesday, she were going to her father, since I'm the mom, and And she said to me, "What are you going to do this week? Are you going to tattoo? What are your projects?" And I said, "This week I'm going to close myself up at home. You're not here, Justine is not here, I need to work." And she said, you're going to do a vortex session. And it was fun because another friend told me, you're in the vortex. And I I even forgot that everybody knows this. Anyway, so if I would like tonight is my last night, and tomorrow morning, and then Justine and Nina, they will come back. I will try to achieve this 10% of writing the layout and the story in a very rough way, you know. But if I can manage to finish this, I will be like so happy. And then after this, all the rest of the process is just like hard work of building up the page, the composition, the drawing, the coloring, the lettering. Of course, I will need to refine the words, the words I use, and also like those layout that I'm sketching are very, very rough, very simple, and they are not set in stone. So now I have an idea of the amount of page I will have, but it's not something that is set in stone. That this is something that will happen later when I'm going to actually build up the composition of the page. But this part is very fun because doesn't need me to be in this kind of inspiration, this kind of concentration, because I'm not like juggling with the story, with the narration. Are people understanding what I want to tell? Is there a story here? Is there a trajectory here? No, when I'm going to construct the page, I will just like, it would be like just tattooing and doing a freehand on the skin. I will do the freehand on the page. And then I will also um, and then I will also maybe want to decide in which way I want to color this book, in which way I want to realize it. But this is like so easy after the story. For me, since my past two books, like Play with Fire and Transformer, Play with Fire, it's like available in Italy and in France, and I have some English version for in if you ask me, but there is no publication in English for now. I have few pages in English that are on an Instagram, the graphic journal Instagram, and the Transformer, it's only edited in Italian for now, and next year it will be out in France. And I mean, these two books are books that I worked on the writing, even though people say, those are journals. And just because I like on the page, you have the date and the place, people think that they are journals, or maybe because uh, my first book for in Italy that came out in 2017, Born to Lose. Now it's out. It's out of print. I I still have few copies in my website, but it's in Italian, and I I took back the royalties, the rights for this book as soon as they arrived to their deadline. I have with my old publisher 5 years right with this book, and as soon as we arrived to the 5 years, I said I want them back, because this book is like my graphic journal just randomly selected, roughly selected, and then published, and I don't feel in accord very much anymore with this book. I mean, I like the object, I like what's inside, but the fact that I published my journal as they were, but without publishing them as they were. I mean, if you publish the journals, you just publish the journals, and it's rough, and there is a story if you want to try it or not, and it's like this. But for this book, I had somebody help me doing the editing, in cutting out some parts in order to make these journals into a story. And now I don't feel like it anymore. I don't feel that I had to delegate this work. Back then I needed to do it myself, but I didn't feel enough sure of myself. Anyway, the book that came after, Play with Fire and Transformer, I wrote a story, and I happen to be the character in my story, but the story is not as my life went, or there is some sort of narration, and take a lot of time to write something that makes sense also for people that doesn't know you. Anyway, I guess that I'm going to head back to my home. Albert doesn't want to walk anymore. We are around the house now, and he wants to... Vuoi andare a casa? No. So anyway, it was way cooler to talk to you, to come out of my podcast studio, which is my bedroom, and talk to you while walking. And I try to keep it around the theme, around the graphic and creative process the more that I can, even though I felt like I was sending one vocal message to one of those friends that I was talking about before. So I was like very tempted to talk about what I'm going to cook tonight as dinner, or maybe give you some gossip around people you don't know. But thank you for listening to this episode, and please let me know if you have any question, or if you want to interact in some way. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a very honest review, 5-star, or also maybe you can share it with one friend that always sends you very long vocal message. Have a good night, and bye bye.